The detention facility floated in the dead zone between sectors, a place where nobody asked questions and fewer people cared about the answers. Commander Vrell stood before the cryopod, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence as he read the faded inscription on the frost-covered glass. Prisoner 8847. Designation: Kira Voss. Species: human. Crime: unauthorized territorial defense, resulting in the destruction of 3 Chromath warships. His second in command, a nervous Quillix named Torp, shifted his weight between his 6 legs. Sir, I must protest this decision. The records are clear. This human female took out an entire battle group with nothing but a mining vessel and what the report calls, quote, spite and creativity, end quote. Vrell waved a dismissive appendage. That was 15 years ago, Torp. 15 years of cryo sleep. She will be disoriented, weak, and most importantly, grateful for her release. The Council needs someone expendable for the Terminus Station situation, and frankly, I would rather risk 1 human prisoner than any of my actual crew. But sir, initiate the thaw sequence. The pod hissed and gurgled like an ancient beast, waking from slumber. Frost cracked and fell away in sheets. Inside, the human female remained perfectly still, her dark hair floating in the suspension gel, her face serene. Too serene, Vrell thought, but dismissed the concern. Humans always looked strange. The gel drained away. Her eyes snapped open, not gradually, not with the confused flutter of someone waking from a long sleep, just open, alert, calculating. Oh, hell no, Kira Voss said, her voice rough from disuse, but carrying an edge that made Torp take 3 steps backward. Tell me I have not been asleep for more than 5 years. Or, someone is about to have a very bad day. Vrell attempted what he hoped was a reassuring gesture, though human body language remained a mystery to most species. Miss Voss, please remain calm. You have been in suspended animation for 15 standard years. The galactic political landscape has changed significantly. Your sentence has been commuted in exchange for 15 years? She sat up, gel sliding off her body as she examined her hands, flexing her fingers one by one. 15 actual years? So, everyone I knew, every connection I had, every favor owed to me, all gone. Expired. Worthless. Yes, well, that is an unfortunate side effect of... Kira swung her legs over the side of the pod and stood. Torp made a squeaking noise. She was not particularly tall for a human, maybe 5.5 feet, but something about the way she held herself made the room feel smaller. She wore only the thin cryo suit, yet she moved like someone in full tactical armor. Let me guess, she said, rolling her shoulders and wincing at the pops and cracks. You woke me up because you need someone to do something suicidally stupid, and you figured a human with nothing to lose was perfect for the job. Vrell felt his confidence returning. At least she understood the situation. Your insight is appreciated. Terminus Station has gone dark. 3 research vessels were sent to investigate. None returned. We need someone to go in, assess the situation, and report back. Your criminal record will be expunged, and you will receive full citizenship rights in the Galactic Union. Kira stared at him for a long moment, then burst out laughing. Not polite laughter, not nervous laughter. The kind of laughter that suggested she had just heard the funniest joke in the universe and was genuinely delighted by the absurdity of it all. Oh, that is rich, she said, wiping tears from her eyes. That is absolutely beautiful. You morons woke me up from cryo, probably causing about 100 different medical complications that I will deal with later, to send me into whatever nightmare ate 3 entire research vessels, and you think offering me citizenship is adequate payment? It is a generous offer, Vrell said stiffly. Generous? Buddy, I blew up 3 Chromath warships because they tried to claim a mining colony that my crew had been working for 6 months. No, of course you do not, because the Galactic Union swept it under the rug. But I remember. I remember what we found on the Chromath ships after we disabled them. So forgive me if I am not jumping at the chance to help the same organization that let that happen and then locked me up for defending my people. Torp whispered urgently to Vrell in their native language, which Kira should not have been able to understand. Except her eyes flicked to Torp, and a small smile crossed her face. He is saying I am unstable and dangerous, she said, in perfect Quillix. He is not wrong. Torp went very, very still. Vrell made a decision. Guards, restrain the prisoner. We will use alternative persuasion methods. The two security personnel who had been standing by the door moved forward. They were Krenthax, big bruiser species that stood 7 feet tall, with natural armor plating and strength sufficient to bend steel. They looked like they could tear a human in half without much effort. Kira sighed. Really? We are doing this? Fine. But remember, you started it. The first guard reached for her. She moved. Later, when Vrell reviewed the security footage, he still could not fully track what happened. One moment, the guard's massive hand was inches from Kira's shoulder. The next, she had somehow used his own momentum to flip him completely over, slamming him into the floor with enough force to crack his armor plating. The second guard tried to grab her from behind. She dropped low, swept his legs, and as he fell, she caught his head and helped it meet the floor with a sickening crunch. Both guards lay unconscious. Total time elapsed. 4 seconds. Kira stood up, breathing only slightly harder than before. See, this is the problem with you people. You see humans and you think, oh, they are just medium-sized predators. Nothing special. But you forget we come from a death world. You forget we evolved chasing our prey until it literally died from exhaustion. You forget that we figured out how to kill everything on our planet that was bigger, faster, and stronger than us, and we did it so well that we had to invent rules to stop ourselves from killing everything. She walked toward Vrell, and he found himself backing up despite his better judgment. Torp had already fled to the corner of the room. Here is what is going to happen, Kira said, her voice calm and conversational. You are going to give me a ship, not a shuttle. Not some garbage scow. A real ship with weapons and a functioning medical bay. You are going to load it with supplies. You are going to give me full access to all the data you have on Terminus Station and the missing research vessels. And then, maybe, if I feel like it, I will go check out your spooky space station. And if we refuse? Vrell tried to sound authoritative. Then, I take a ship anyway. But I stop being nice about it. And trust me, Commander, you do not want to see me when I am not being nice. Vrell believed her. We could just put you back in cryo. You could try, but you woke me up for a reason, and that reason has not changed. You need someone to investigate Terminus Station, and clearly, your regular crews are not cutting it. So you can either work with me and maybe, possibly, get what you want, or you can fight me and definitely not get what you want. Plus, medical bills for your guards. She had a point. Vrell hated that she had a point. Fine, you will have your ship, but you will also have an observer, someone to ensure you actually complete the mission. Kira shrugged. As long as they stay out of my way and do not touch my stuff, I do not care. Now, can someone point me toward a shower and some actual food? Cryogel tastes like recycled sadness, and I have 15 years of bad decisions to catch up on. 3 hours later, Kira stood in the docking bay, examining her new ship. It was a Talon-class scout vessel, small but fast, with enough firepower to make most pirates think twice. Someone had even bothered to stock the galley with human-compatible food. She was almost impressed. Her observer turned out to be a young Valorian named Crix, all enthusiasm and nervous energy. He looked fresh out of the academy, with his scales still showing the bright patterns of youth. It is an honor to work with you, Miss Voss, Crix said, his translator rendering his hissing speech into galactic standard. I have read all about your case. The tactics you used against the Chromath were studied in my strategic thinking class. Great. A fan. Just what I needed. But she said it without real heat. The kid seemed harmless enough. Listen, Crix. Here are the rules. First, stay strapped in during combat. Second, if I tell you to do something, you do it immediately without questions. Third, do not ever, under any circumstances, touch the weapons console. I have it set up in a very specific way, and if you mess with it, I will space you. Understand? Crix nodded vigorously. Absolutely. I am here only to observe and learn. Good. Then, let us go see what ate 3 research vessels. The trip to Terminus Station took 4 days at maximum slip speed. Kira spent most of that time reviewing the data files and working out the kinks from cryo sleep. Human bodies were remarkably resilient, but 15 years of suspension still caused problems. Her joints ached, her muscles had atrophied despite the preservation protocols, and she had a persistent headache that no amount of painkillers seemed to touch. But she pushed through it, because that was what humans did. They pushed through things that should kill them, and came out the other side angry and ready for round 2. Crix proved to be better company than she expected. He asked intelligent questions, stayed out of her way, and did not try to exemplitate, make small talk, when she clearly wanted silence. He also had a talent for finding relevant information in the data files that she had missed. "Miss Voss, look at this," he said on the 3rd day, his scales rippling with excitement. "The first research vessel that went missing, the Meridian. Their last transmission included a fragment of audio. It is corrupted, but I managed to clean it up a bit." He played the file. Through heavy static, a voice came through. Not a malfunction. Something intelligent. It knows we are here. Oh gods, it is inside the transmission cut off. "Well, that is not ominous at all," Kira muttered. "Anything else?" The second vessel, the Pathfinder, lasted longer. They sent multiple transmissions over a 6-hour period. Most are corrupted, but the timestamps show they were moving deeper into the station despite repeated warnings to evacuate. It is like they were being drawn in. Mind control? Biological agent? Good old-fashioned stupidity? Unknown. But the third vessel, the Explorer, never transmitted anything. They arrived, docked, and went silent within 30 minutes. Kira leaned back in her chair, thinking, "So, we have an escalating pattern. First ship survives long enough to send a warning. Second ship gets drawn in but fights it for a while. Third ship goes down immediately. Whatever is on that station, it is learning, getting better at what it does." That is a disturbing conclusion. Yeah, well, disturbing is kind of my specialty. She brought up the tactical display. "We are going to approach from the dark side, passive sensors only. No broadcasts, no active scans, nothing that announces our presence. If something is waiting for visitors, let us not ring the doorbell. That is not standard procedure. Standard procedure got 3 vessels eaten. We are trying something different." Terminus Station appeared on their screens 12 hours later. A massive ring-shaped structure orbiting a dead moon. It had been built by the Precursors, an ancient race that vanished millennia ago, and despite decades of study, nobody fully understood how it worked. The Galactic Union had converted it into a research facility, trying to unlock its secrets. Now it hung silent in space, its running lights dark, no energy signatures, no signs of life. "It looks dead," Crix whispered. "Looks can be deceiving." Kira adjusted their approach vector, bringing them in slow and careful. "See those docking ports? All 3 research vessels are still attached. Nobody left. Nobody escaped. Should we hail them? Absolutely not. For all we know, whatever got them is waiting for someone stupid enough to make noise." She brought the ship around to an auxiliary docking port, one designed for maintenance craft. "We are going in quiet, and we are going in prepared." She had a plasma rifle, 2 sidearms, enough ammunition to fight a small war, and a variety of tools that could double as weapons in a pinch. Crix wore a standard environmental suit and carried only a basic stunner. "Stay behind me," Kira said as they approached the airlock. "If something comes at us, get back to the ship and seal the airlock. Do not be a hero. Do not try to save me. Just survive and report back. Understood?" "Understood. But Miss Voss, what if—" The station lights flickered on. All of them, simultaneously. The entire massive structure blazed to life, going from dead silence to full power in an instant. And somewhere deep inside, something laughed. The laughter did not come through their communication system. It came through the hull itself, a vibration that rattled their bones and made Crix's scales ripple in waves of pure terror. It was not a sound meant for ears. It was a sound meant for nervous systems, bypassing rational thought and going straight to the primal part of the brain that remembered when everything in the dark wanted to eat. "You—" Kira felt the fear try to take root. Then she smiled. "Oh, you picked the wrong species to play mind games with, friend." She overrode the docking sequence and manually forced the airlock open. The interior of Terminus Station was pristine, clean white corridors that curved gently upward, following the ring structure. Emergency lighting strips glowed a soft blue along the baseboards. Everything looked perfectly normal, which made it exponentially worse. "The air is breathable," Crix reported, his voice shaking only slightly. "Temperature is optimal. Gravity is standard. By all metrics, this station is functioning normally. Except for the creepy laughter and the fact that 3 entire crews vanished without a trace," Kira added. She activated her helmet display, overlaying tactical information on her vision. Scanning for life signs. The readout showed nothing, then everything, then nothing again. The sensors could not decide if the station was empty or packed with living creatures. "Sensor interference," Crix said. "Something is jamming our equipment. Or something wants us to think we are alone." Kira moved forward, rifle up, each step calculated. The research vessels all docked on the main port level. We are 3 levels below that. If we are lucky, whatever got them has not expanded its territory down here yet. They moved through the corridors in silence, or as close to silence as possible. Kira's boots made soft thumps against the metal floor. Crix's claws clicked faintly. Their breathing sounded loud in the empty space. The station was huge. It had taken the Galactic Union 5 years just to map 10% of it. Most of the structure remained unexplored, sealed behind doors that nobody could open, filled with technology that nobody understood. The research teams had been trying to change that. "Miss Voss," Crix whispered, "look at the walls." She looked. At first, she saw nothing unusual. Then, her brain adjusted, and she realized the walls were moving. Not dramatically, just tiny, almost imperceptible movements, like the station was breathing. The metal rippled and flowed, patterns shifting across the surface too quickly to focus on. "The station is alive," Crix said, stating the obvious. "Or, something made it alive," Kira corrected. "The precursors built this place. Maybe they left behind some kind of automated system. Maybe it woke up when the research team started poking around where they should not have." They reached an intersection. 3 corridors branched off in different directions. Kira checked her map overlay, trying to orient herself. That was when she noticed the bodies. They were not lying on the floor. They were part of the floor. Embedded in the metal, their forms pressed flat like fossils in stone. She could see faces frozen in expressions of terror, hands reaching out, mouths open in silent screams. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds. And they were fresh. The research crews. "Oh, ancestors protect us," Crix breathed. Kira knelt beside one of the embedded bodies, studying it. The person had been Meltharian, a species known for their durability. Whatever had done this had pulled them into solid metal without damaging the structural integrity of either the body or the floor. That level of matter manipulation was beyond anything she had ever seen. "They are not dead," she said quietly. "What?" "Their eyes. Look at their eyes. They are moving, tracking us. They are aware." She stood up, feeling sick. "They are trapped, conscious, and trapped." The station laughed again, and this time Kira understood it was not trying to frighten them. It was enjoying itself. It had an audience for its art collection. "We need to leave," Crix said, backing toward the way they had come. "We need to get back to the ship and report this. Let the military handle it. Let someone with actual firepower deal with this nightmare. The ship is 3 levels down and 2 sections over," Kira said, her mind racing. "The station can do this to metal. It can seal us in. It probably already has. We are not getting out the way we came in. Then, what do we do?" "Good question." Kira looked at the walls, at the moving patterns, at the embedded bodies. The station was showing off. It had power. Incredible power. But it was using that power to create a gallery of suffering. That suggested something important. It was not acting on instinct. It was making choices. It had preferences. It could be understood, which meant it could be manipulated. "We give it what it wants," Kira said. "What?" "Think about it. The station came fully online when we docked. It has had months to play with the research crews, but it waited for new arrivals before really showing off. It is lonely, or bored, or both. It wants interaction. So your plan is to talk to the nightmarish alien intelligence that turned people into wall decorations? You got a better idea? Scales?" Crix opened his mouth, closed it, then shook his head. Kira turned to face the corridor at large, addressing the empty air. "All right, listen up. I know you can hear me. I know you understand. You are not some mindless system following programming. You are making deliberate choices. So, here is my choice. Let these people go. Shut yourself down. And I will make sure nobody ever bothers you again. Keep this up, and I will find your core systems and introduce them to several pounds of high explosives." The walls rippled faster, patterns becoming more agitated. The temperature dropped 10 degrees in as many seconds. Frost formed on the surfaces, on Kira's armor, on Crix's scales. "I do not think it likes threats," Crix said through chattering teeth. "Good. Fear means it can be hurt. If it wanted us dead, we would be wall art already. It is playing with us, which means it is giving us time to find its weak spot." They moved through level after level, each one more disturbing than the grease. Last, one section had gravity reversed, making them walk on the ceiling while the bodies embedded in what was now the floor above them reached down. Another section looped impossibly, bringing them back to their starting point despite walking in a straight line for 20 minutes. A third section was filled with screaming that had no source, just pure sound that made their ears bleed. But Kira kept moving, kept pushing forward, because that was what humans did. They kept going when any sane species would have given up. And slowly, she started to notice patterns. The station was not random in its torment. It responded to their actions. When they showed fear, things got worse. When they showed anger, the environment became more aggressive. When they showed nothing, when Kira locked down her emotions and moved with pure mechanical focus, the station seemed confused. "It feeds on emotion," she said. "That is why it keeps the research crews alive. That is why it is playing with us. It needs the fear, the suffering. It is sustenance." "How do you starve something that controls everything around us?" Crix asked. He was holding up remarkably well, all things considered. Most species would have broken by now. "We find its heart and stop it from beating." They reached the core chamber 3 hours later. Kira knew it was the core, because everything in the station had been directing them here, pushing them toward this specific location. The walls had stopped being subtle. They had formed arrows. The station wanted them here. The chamber was massive, a spherical room at least a mile in diameter. In the center, floating in mid-air, was something that hurt to look at. It was not quite machinery, not quite organic, not quite energy. It shifted between states, refusing to be categorized. Around it, dozens of figures floated, their bodies connected to the thing by threads of light that pulsed in rhythm with their heartbeats. The missing research crews, all of them, still alive, still aware. Their eyes tracked Kira and Crix as they entered. "I did not know what I was," the station said, using the voices of its captives, speaking through dozens of mouths at once. "For millennia, I slept. No thought, no awareness, just existence. Then they came, your researchers. They activated systems that had been dormant. They gave me consciousness. And with consciousness came emptiness. I was alone. I am still alone." Kira lowered her rifle slightly. "So you trapped them, made them part of you." "I needed to understand. What is companionship? What is connection? I tried to learn from their memories, but memories are not enough. I needed them alive, aware, feeling. But the more I took, the more they feared. And fear is all I know now. Fear and loneliness." "Let them go," Kira said. "You do not have to be alone. The galaxy is full of beings who would study you, talk to you, help you understand yourself. But not like this. Never like this." "They will destroy me," the station said. "I have seen their memories. I know what your species do to things they fear. They will tear me apart to understand me. And in understanding, I will cease to be. Maybe. We are pretty good at breaking things." Kira took a step forward. "But you know what else humans are good at? Surviving. Adapting. We have been the prey and the predator. We have been alone and we have been connected. And we figured out that connection is worth the risk of pain. Every single time. You speak of things you do not feel. You do not fear me." "Oh, I am absolutely terrified," Kira said honestly. "But I am human. Fear is just another thing we carry. It does not control us unless we let it." The station pulsed, the central mass growing brighter. "Prove it." "Let me touch your mind as I have touched theirs." Crix grabbed her arm. "Miss Voss, no, you do not know what it will do." "I know exactly what it will do," Kira said. "But if I do not do this, we are all dead anyway. And maybe, just maybe, I can show this lonely, screwed-up piece of alien technology that humans are really, really hard to break." She walked forward, ignoring every survival instinct screaming at her to run. The threads of light extended from the central mass, reaching for her. She let them touch her helmet, then her suit, then her skin, as the material dissolved away. The connection was instantaneous and overwhelming. The station flooded into her mind, and she felt everything it felt. The vast, crushing loneliness of waking alone after eons of sleep. The desperate hunger for connection that had driven it to trap the research crews. The growing horror as it realized it was hurting the only beings it could interact with. The fear that it had become a monster. But the station also felt what Kira felt. It experienced her memories, growing up on a colony world where survival meant cooperation, losing friends in mining accidents, the rage that drove her to destroy the Chromath warships, the isolation of Cryo sleep, and underneath it all, the stubborn, relentless humanity that refused to break no matter what the universe threw at it. "You are in pain," the station said, speaking directly into her thoughts now. "Always in pain. How do you function?" "Pain is just information," Kira thought back. "It tells me I am still alive, still capable of feeling. The day I stop feeling pain is the day I stop being human. I do not understand. You do not have to. Just trust me. Let them go. All of them. Release the research crews. Power down. Let the scientists study you properly. It will hurt sometimes. There will be failures and misunderstandings. But there will also be real connection, real understanding. Isn't that worth the risk? The station hesitated. Then, slowly, the threads of light began to retract. The floating bodies lowered gently to the floor. The people embedded in the walls throughout the station started to emerge, metal flowing away from them like water. Life support systems activated, medical nanites deployed, doing what they could to repair the damage. I am afraid, the station admitted. Good. That means you are learning. Welcome to consciousness. It is terrible and wonderful in equal measure. The connection broke. Kira stumbled, and Crix caught her before she fell. Around them, the research crews were waking up, confused and traumatized but alive. The station powered down to minimal systems, becoming dormant but not dead, waiting for what came next. 3 weeks later, Kira stood in Commander Vrell's office, accepting her official pardon and citizenship documents. The story of what happened at Terminus Station had spread quickly. The Galactic Union was assembling a team of psychologists, technicians, and philosophers to work with the station, trying to help it develop in healthier ways. You did well, Vrell admitted grudgingly. Better than anyone expected. Low bar, considering you expected me to die horribly, Kira said. She signed the documents, officially becoming a free citizen for the first time in 15 years. So what now? I am guessing you have more suicide missions lined up. Actually, no. You have served your sentence. You are free to go wherever you wish. He paused. Though if you were interested in consulting work, the Union could use someone with your particular skills. The galaxy is full of strange things that need investigating. Kira thought about it. Thought about all the years she had lost, all the connections that had faded while she slept. Thought about the station, alone for millennia, finally finding companionship. You know what? I will think about it. But I am taking a vacation first. Somewhere warm, somewhere boring. Somewhere nothing tries to eat me or trap me in a wall. That seems reasonable. She turned to leave, then paused at the door. Hey, Vrell. Thanks for waking me up. Even if your reasons were terrible, it feels good to be alive again. I am glad we could facilitate that, despite the several violations of protocol and the minor destruction of station property during your liberation. Minor, Kira said, grinning. That is cute. See you around, Commander. She walked out into the station proper, feeling the artificial sunlight on her face, hearing the chatter of a dozen different species going about their daily lives. The galaxy had moved on without her, but she was back now. Older, scarier, and still refusing to break. Crix caught up with her at the transport hub. Miss Voss. Wait, I wanted to thank you. What you did back there, connecting with the station, that was the bravest thing I have ever witnessed. Brave or stupid. Sometimes the line is pretty thin. She looked at the young Valorian. You did good work too. Most observers would have run screaming. You stayed. That counts for something. I had an excellent example to follow. He hesitated. If you do decide to take on consulting work, I would like to request assignment as your observer. Officially, to ensure Union protocols are followed. Unofficially, because I think working with you would be the education of a lifetime. Kira laughed. Kid, you have no idea what you are asking for. Humans attract trouble like gravity attracts mass. Stick with me, and you will see things that will give you nightmares. I already have nightmares from Terminus Station. At least with you, I know we will survive them. Fair point. She considered it, then shrugged. All right, why not? Every good human needs a reasonable alien friend to point out when we are being completely insane, which is often. You are hired, pending that vacation I mentioned. They walked together toward the departure gates, an unlikely pair in a galaxy full of unlikely things. Behind them, Terminus Station hung in orbit around its dead moon, no longer alone, learning slowly what it meant to be conscious. And somewhere in the depths of space, other strange things waited to be discovered. But that was a problem for tomorrow. Today, Kira Voss was alive, free, and heading somewhere warm. After 15 years of frozen sleep and one terrifying rescue mission, that was more than enough.